Yo, hi. Today is in fact National Cocktail Day. And if y'all have been here a while, you might know a couple of things about your girl Pixie. 1, I like cocktails. 2, I make cocktails for a living. 3, I'm a cocktail enthusiast. And 4, I have a very well-stocked home bar. And 5, I love the sound of my own voice. So I thought, how can I combine all of these things? Well, I've got this beautiful little bar cart, I've got a whole bunch of shit, and I have enough people who seem to be relatively interested in me talking about cocktails, for at least a little bit. What we're gonna talk about today is a little bit of cocktail history. I am not going to go super in-depth on a whole lot of stuff. Many books have been written on the subject. We are gonna hit the big main points though, and kind of where cocktails came from as a concept, how they've evolved, what the modern cocktail scene looks like, and then we have some chaotic requests, so to say. My neighbor showed up today with a birthday gift for me, and it was a wonderful little birthday gift. I'm not quite sure what it is, but I'll show you. It is literally Pixie special stuff. We don't know what Pixie special stuff is, but it is just add Malort. It is apparently 2 parts of the special stuff with 1 part Malort. And as you well know, I have several bottles of Malort. We will be trying this on stream. We will be trying it live. I have not tried it yet. Now, what makes me qualified to teach you about cocktails? It's because I have this towel. If you know, you know. What I am going to talk about is basics for home bartending. So we're gonna start, if you don't mind. Class is now officially in session. We are going to start with the basics, okay? So, you go to a cocktail bar, you go to a bar, you go to any bar, and you want a cocktail. Well, there's gonna be 2 ways your cocktail is going to be prepared. It is gonna be prepared shaken, or it's gonna be prepared stirred. And if it was a batched cocktail, meaning they made a whole bunch of it beforehand, it was probably shaken or stirred before that. It is literally the basis of cocktail making. So what do we use to do these things? We'll start with the most essential, the most important. This bad boy right here. This is called a Boston shaker. There are 3 types of shakers primarily in the cocktail world. This Boston shaker has 2 separate cups in it. Small goes into large. When you shake it, it builds suction, and it's pretty good at preventing leaks if you know how to use it right. The other 2 types of shakers you'll commonly see are kind of like a half Boston shaker that's gonna have essentially a pint glass over it. Those make me super duper nervous because I don't want glass breaking in my hand. The other one I absolutely hate. It's called a cobbler shaker. You've probably seen it before. It literally has the shaker bottom, and then it has a top that has a little lid on it, and it has a built-in strainer. You would think that would be convenient, and oh, it's already got the strainer, you don't have to worry about it. No, remember what I just said. When you're shaking a cocktail, these will build up pressure. Do you know what happens when you have a little tiny lid on top of it? It blows off and it makes a fucking mess. I hate a cobbler shaker, so you will never see me use one. I have given mine away. I bought a Boston shaker. It is well loved. It is beaten to shit. It's my jam. Now, if you're getting a cocktail that maybe is a little bit more on the booze heavy side, you want it to be what we call spirit forward. You want this to be something that is just very classic, very whiskey fronted or rum fronted or martini based, like you want to taste the quality of the alcohol. Well, chances are it's gonna be stirred, in which case we're gonna use this lovely thing right here. This lovely thing is a very simple thing. It's really cool. It's called a mixing glass. Shocker, I know. It's got a heavy weighted bottom. This sticks onto your black mats that you're using so it doesn't go everywhere while you're stirring things, and it allows a different style of dilution. And it's going to help air your cocktail a little bit. It's gonna make sure that it doesn't get overly diluted. It's gonna make sure that the water helps bring out the notes and the heavier alcohol that you're putting in there, so you get a lot of aroma and you get a lot of taste. The spoon is its own special thing. Bar spoons are its own special thing. The bar spoon is unique in that it has all this little like twisty ridge stuff on it. What it does is it actually helps get rid of excess carbonation. If you know how to pour on this spoon, and you pour down the side of the spoon, if you're like topping something with a club soda or a tonic water or any sort of soda or any sort of carbonated beverage, it helps reduce the carbonation so that you have less of it and ergo can pour your drink neater and not worry about it overflowing. It's brilliant. We love that. So they're gonna measure out ingredients for your cocktail. Okay, so how are they gonna do that? Well, there's another special little tool that I'm sure you're all very familiar with, and I'm going to over-enunciate this every single time. I hate the term, but this is what it's called. It is called a jigger. So your jigger is generally going to be two-sided. It's going to have either 2 ounces or 1.5 ounces up top, and it's going to have 1 ounce at the bottom here on the shorter side. Some of them are even smaller. I actually have one that's even smaller. I have one that has a 1/2 ounce on one side and 1 ounce on the other side. Very small, but these are the classic jigger shapes. There's actually more than one kind. This lovely little guy has, and they're kind of hard to see, it's very well used. You can see that there's numbers on the inside of it for your pours. So when you're looking right down at it, you can see the approximate amount that you're pouring. One side is parts, one side is ounces. So this one is very, very good for the beginning bartender who just really wants to be super accurate in their measurements. Love these. Got this one from my other bar. Beautiful. 10 out of 10. So you have your drink made. They put all the ingredients in here. They did the shaking. They did the stirring. Well, now they're going to pour it into your glass. Well, how are they going to pour it into your glass without making a mess? Enter the cocktail strainer. You've probably seen these before. They actually have names if you didn't know. This one's kind of cool. This one has Death drinking a margarita on it, which I really like. I think it was or a daiquiri, one of the two. I got this from my previous bar manager. This strainer has a name. It is called the Hawthorne strainer. It is the classic strainer. It fits over both every standard shaker and the top of your mixing glasses. It makes it really, really easy to be able to pour stuff out without having your ice or any other detritus go in there. Now, there's also another way to do it specifically for the mixing glass, and that's this bad boy right here. If you haven't seen one of these, I love these. These are called julep strainers. Why julep strainers? Because they were initially used to make mint juleps. Mint juleps can get a little messy because you're using leaves and you're muddling them in there, and it can, you know, get all in your drink and then you're eating plants and you don't want that. But honestly, I think it's fine. But this is another way you can strain with, specifically you're not going to use this with a shaker. You would be using this with a mixing glass, but you would do one of these bad boys here. Holds the ice, lets you pour the liquid. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Now, if you're a pretentious shit like me, you can do what's called double straining. So instead of going through just your Hawthorne strainer, you would also go through your Hawthorne strainer and pour into one of these. This is surprisingly called a fine mesh strainer. Big surprising name here. The reason you would do that is to catch other debris. You've shaken up a drink, you have ice chips in it. You might have pulp in it from fruit or citrus. You might have just various ingredients in there, like maybe you put some cloves in there or some herbs and spices that you don't want in the drink. These are also for very small servings of pasta. Delightful. Perfect. I love to double strain my drinks. The bar I interviewed at told me they didn't do that, and they were like a high-ender cocktail bar, and I'm like, the fuck? I mean, I guess they probably know something that I don't, because their drinks are very, very good. But for me, at home, when I'm making drinks and I'm shaking them up, I tend to double strain. I think it just leads to a better mouthfeel. Chances are, if you're at a cocktail bar, you are going to get a specific type of drink glass for the drink you ordered. And so I brought a few out of my collection to show you some different glasses and tell you what they could be used for. So we'll start with the easiest one. Easy, classic glassware. We'll start with the champagne flute. If you're making a drink like a French 75 or something that is effervescent, meaning that it's going to be light, it's going to be airy, these are really nice for that. Gives you a really nice airy kind of space. You can get your nose in there when you're drinking it. You're going to get some nice aromatics out of it. It's lovely for something like that, like a mixed drink. It's absolutely fantastic. A good champagne flute also is very identifiable, recognizable. You know what you're getting when you're getting a champagne flute. You're getting something light and bubbly. The other, more classic glass that you would see champagne served in is called a coupe glass. Other cocktails often come in coupe glasses. I love these. I love that they're wider. I love that the mouth is wider. I love that they give me more space, more air. They they really just add to the pinky out fancy. Like they just, quite. Like I love a coupe glass. So we have that. Those are a nice little bubbly drinks. Well, let's say you wanted something that was liquid forward. Like I said, you wanted it to be very boozy, heavy. It's going to be something like an old fashioned. It's going to be something like maybe a Manhattan on the rocks if you really feel like being that guy. Something that's going to be booze forward is likely going to be served in a rocks glass. Classic, easy to remember. Chances are it's going to be served over one big cube. Usually it's going to have a peel garnish of some kind, maybe a cherry. This is a delightful one. Weighted here at the bottom, gives it a little bit of authority. And it's always nice when you can get a nice big ice cube in here that'll fit. You can pour the cocktail over it. Looks really nice, holds really nice. And there's like 800 variations of a rocks glass. Some of them are called double-walled rocks glasses. They're gonna be a little bit more insulated to help keep your drink cooler and not let the heat of your body warm it up too much and change the flavor profile too much. This is like some very basic ass one. If you are a person who likes to be fancy and you're somebody who enjoys a classic martini, well, of course, you may be familiar with the martini glass. Another one that is fantastic for when you have a booze-forward drink. It is very nice to be able to get that airflow, to be able to hold it by the stem so you're not going to mess with the temperature of the drink unless you're like a Philistine and you're holding it like this. Please don't do this. This is horrible. Your hand is heating up the glass. It's going to be awful. Just don't do that. This is going to be for your martinis. This is going to be for your lemon drops. This is going to be for your espresso martinis. It is just a very classic, very emblematic sign of fancy drinking. If you are maybe looking for a fancy style drink, but it's not necessarily going to be a martini, you got yourself like a nice, really artisanal cocktail at one of these nice artisanal cocktail bars, they might pour it to you in something like this. This is called a Nick and Nora glass. There's several different styles of them. This is mine personally. They tend to just have this very longer bowl, so it's going to hold the drink deeper. Again, you're going to have a stem, so you're not going to mess with it with your hand temperature. It allows the drink to stay cold. You get your nose right in there. It's very, very good for the aromatics. These are very good all-purpose glass. I use these for a lot of things. And finally, out of my collection, because I have way too many fucking collections, if it happens to be the summertime, we have two more actually. If it happens to be the summertime, and you are a person who likes what's called a mule, which is essentially vodka, ginger beer, and lime. That's it. There's 800 variations on a mule, but that is the classic mule. You want to use mule mugs. These are literally, that's all they're for. They are literally just for mules. They are delightful. This one is actually from Middle West, which is a local distiller. And it's just nice to have it in a glass that gets really cold and keeps it really cold. On a hot summer day, nothing beats a mule. And finally, a glass I will be using a little bit later, a very classic one, a hard worker, the Collins glass. Plain, simple, easy to remember, straight up and down, heavy weighted bottom with authority. This is going to be your glass for highballs, long drinks, which are lower alcohol drinks. This is going to be also your glass for your Bloody Marys. We'll probably be using this again later. Can't wait. All right, so there's all your tools. There's how you're going to get your alcohol served to you. There's one other thing that is a central component to your drink, probably. If it hasn't been shaken and just strained out, some drinks are going to come with ice in them. This is the only time we like ice in this house. And honestly, there are different kinds of ice, and people get very, very particular about their ice. Chances are, at any regular cocktail bar, you're going to see a couple kinds of ice. You're going to see classic small ice, like just ice cubes. You're going to see crushed ice for certain styles of drinks. And you're going to see what I like to call the BFR, the big fucking rock, the cube ice. Now, I really did go all the way here. I brought my fucking ice bucket. So I actually have all three different kinds of ice. I have crushed ice. We'll be using that later. I don't have an ice crusher. I just hit it with a hammer. That's why the bag is worse for wear. I have my regular, delightful freezer ice right here. And I have my BFR, my big fucking rock. We love one of these. We love a BFR. It's delightful. All my ice is gonna be hand flavored tonight because I don't feel like getting tongs out. Allow me to present to you a horror beyond my comprehension. This jar of piss is milk-washed Malort. I'm gonna get into washing, fat washing, milk washing, and all that stuff kind of more in my little modern cocktail portion of this. This is milk-washed Malort. Malort regular. It's dark, dehydrated piss. Malort milk washed, light, better piss for your drug test. I ran it through whole milk, let it curdle, sifted the curds out. What's left in here is the protein and the whey that is supposed to make it taste better. It is supposed to give it a silkier mouthfeel. It's sealed for your protection. The second thing I plan on creating today was a brainchild between me and the Gory Details a couple of months ago. And we decided that the Bloody Mary could be improved by giving it a distinctly Asian feel. So we're gonna have it, instead of a vodka base, it's gonna have a sake base. It's still gonna have tomato juice, because you gotta. No Wash Your Sister sauce in here. There's gonna be hoisin sauce in here. There's gonna be black pepper. There's gonna be garlic salt. There's gonna be lemon juice. There's gonna be sriracha, and there's gonna be wasabi. I have hypothesized some ratios and see if that's any good. Now, the third thing I have, which is a complete and total surprise to me, is my beloved neighbor, who I love very, very dearly, who's hiding in chat, brought over our Pixie stuff. We don't know what this is. We have no idea. I have not tasted it. I have not smelled it. It's also piss. It needs to be mixed with Malort. It has been told. He's got family in Chicago. I trust that this came from there. So cocktails. How did a cocktail itself start? Well, we're gonna skip over boring history and we're gonna go right to Prohibition. Because Prohibition, as we all know, was a really terrible time in our history. When alcohol was being made in Prohibition era, it tended to be made pretty unsafely. There was called bathtub gin and radiator moonshine for a reason. Cocktails came about because that shit tasted bad. Old-time bootleggers and alcohol producers would flavor their alcohols with things like juniper for gin, which was easy. Now, bourbon was a little bit tougher to kind of get the profile on. Bourbon has a lot of artistry in it, but not so much if you're using dead rats and rotten meat to flavor it. So cocktails came out as a way to cut the harshness and horrible tastes of bootleg alcohol. Classic cocktails in ye olde Prohibition times are gin-based. So I actually am gonna make one. It's gonna be a really easy one. I'm gonna make a classic because I want something light to sip on before I start torturing myself. But while I'm talking about this cocktail, it's a little thing called the Tom Collins. Tom Collins is considered a highball or a long drink, which is essentially a drink that is low alcohol and meant for sipping. A Tom Collins is very simple. It's made with gin. Generally, it would be a London dry gin. I don't have that. We're gonna use Hendrick's because I'm bougie. It's gonna be made with lemon juice or lime juice if you want it to be slightly different. And then it's going to have sugar or a sugar syrup, a simple syrup, and it's gonna be topped with club soda. Super easy, no problems here. Since I got myself a big fucking cube, I will, however, throw together a quick little old fashioned to show you the way I like to do them. And while we're doing that, I'm gonna talk to you about what bitters are, because I actually had to look this up. I was like, I'm used to using bitters, but I technically don't know what they are. Bitters are literally concentrated botanical and herbal extracts with alcohol in them. We're gonna use our big fuck off ice cube. We're gonna use rocks glass. I'm gonna build it in the glass because that's gonna be the easiest thing for me right now. I'm gonna add a couple of dashes of orange bitters, Angostura orange bitters, right into the glass, right on top of my ice cube. Boom. I also have sugar syrup. I made this. This bottle is not true. I just like to keep and collect old bottles like a little magpie. I made a sugar syrup earlier today. You can actually, traditionally, it would be done with a sugar cube, but we're not doing that. We are going to put just a smidgen. So I got a little bit of ice in there, or I got my ice in there, I got my orange bitters in there, I got a little bit of simple syrup in the bottom. So we got 3 ingredients. We got a little bit, we got the water, we got the bitters, we got the sugar. We're gonna put the spirit in now. And I almost got a regular boring bourbon, but no, we're gonna use 4 Roses because that's what I have, and bourbon's only gonna get more expensive. So, you know, this is a treat for everybody involved. And in this case, I'm going to knock this one out with approximately 2 ounces, and I'm gonna use my angled jigger here, 2 ounces of 4 Roses right over the ice cube. Boom. Plain, simple, easy to remember. Now I'm gonna take my bar spoon and we're gonna do one of this. Dude, Canada does have the good booze. I heard from a bartender once the ideal amount of stirring is 35 to 50 times, but who the fuck is counting that? Especially if you're making 2 of these at once? Like, why the hell would you do that? Winter forever, we need to get drunk. I mean, valid. Canadian whiskey came out of somewhere. We're gonna call that good. Now, granted, most old fashions are gonna be garnished with an orange or some kind of orange citrus peel, where they will express the oil on it that's taking the peel and twisting it over, and then the natural oils and essences of the fruit skin will land on the drink and give it more aroma and give it a little bit more taste. I did not buy oranges because I did not want to, but cheers, we'll start with the classic old-fashioned. Damn it, you just can't mess with the originals, man. It's so good. The other thing I was gonna make was a Tom Collins. This one's super duper easy. This is a great one to make for your friends. Literally, barely any ingredient. Hand-flavored ice is going into my Collins glass. Which one's the Collins glass, kids? It's the tall one. Now, if I recall correctly, the recipe for your classic Tom Collins is either 1.5 to 2 ounces of gin. I'm gonna use 1.5. See, look at this. I love we're getting audience participation. So I'm gonna put 1.5 ounces of gin. Pour that directly into the glass. Liquor first over the ice. Then we're gonna take our, and I mean this, fresh squeezed lemon juice. Now, real quickly, you're gonna meet a lot of bartenders who are very, very particular about their juice. And they're gonna tell you, you have to do fresh squeezed. You have to. This is fresh squeezed because I needed it for milk washing the Malort yesterday. I personally use the concentrate from the grocery store. Why? Yes, I know it's not as good. Yes, I know there's extra citric acid. There's all this other stuff in it. Fine. In the words of Scotty K Fitness, it's not that serious for your at-home drinker. I will not deny that a fresh squeezed juice does add a little something something. That being said, this is labor fucking intensive. This was like 4 lemons. There's a lot happening here. Alrighty, I'm gonna throw down, I think it's anywhere between 1/2 to 3/4 of an ounce of freshly squeezed lemon. I could look this up. I'm not gonna. We're gonna go with our heart here. It's basically just making a spiked lemonade. So we're gonna add a little bit of sugar to this. Just a smidge. Again, I'm not the girl who likes a whole lot of super sweet, so I'm gonna add probably about 1/4 of an ounce of simple syrup, just to give it a little bit of a kick. Finally, to finish your Collins, oh yeah, baby, the club soda. Oh, it's so satisfying. Now this is where I get to show you that little trick I was talking about. If I can make this work while I'm on camera, it might be a little difficult to demonstrate. And I'm also just knocking all of this glassware over. Take your spoon with the swirly bit. You stick it in the glass, and you pour your carbonation over it, and it cuts the carbonation down, like so. You can kind of see it. Look at the bottom there. Oh, that sounds so satisfying. Boom. Stick it in there. Give it a little stir. I cheated a little bit here. Made my little Tom Collins. It looks delightful. I wanted to be a little extra bougie, so I actually cut garnish for this one. Traditionally would be served with a lime wedge and a maraschino cherry. I don't do maraschinos, I do Amarana cherries. So here we go. The nicely, beautifully, I actually put stuff on it. Delicious, Tom Collins. I put stuff on it solely to not be able to use any stuff and get my face in it, so cheers. Oh, fuck, man, that's so good. That's so good. That was like the perfect amount of lemon juice in there. Oh. So that's one of the classic Prohibition cocktails. Again, super easy. You've got sugar in it, you've got citrus in it to hide the taste of the bathtub gin if it sucks. But gin, being one of the easier alcohols to make during Prohibition and being one of the ones that didn't necessarily have to taste like rotted meat, you could make a lot of good drinks with it, hence why it was the base for a lot of cocktails. Other Prohibition cocktails you may be familiar with that you've heard of. The Last Word. The Last Word is a cocktail that has a base of green chartreuse. It's got maraschino cherry. It's got a sour component, which I believe is lemon. And one other damn thing that I can never remember. You have that hyper herbaceous taste to mask the alcohol. Oh, it's made with gin. That's what I was forgetting. The Last Word is made with gin. The Bee's Knees, made with gin. The Tom Collins, made with gin. The Scofflaw, made with bourbon. The Sidecar, made with cognac. The French 75, made with gin. Like, gin was literally the glue that held Prohibition together. 100%. Is everybody having fun? Are we having a good time? Are we learning a little bit? Do we feel a little bit more educated? Do we feel ready for the test on Tuesday, as my mom would like to say? Hopefully you do. Hopefully you feel a little bit more educated, but also just feel free to talk to me about, like, your drinks, man. Like, tell me what your vibe is. Look at this beautiful cat. Everybody has to look at her. She's beautiful. Look at her. Everybody has to give her attention. For my friends who are sober or sober curious or practicing cutting things down, there are so many better non-alcoholic alternatives to spirits these days, and there are more coming, and it is wonderful. So, for those of you who may like a drink, may like the taste of a drink, but don't want just some sort of sugar bomb-laden Shirley Temple-ass bullshit thing, mocktails have gotten so much better. People have put the same crafting time and care into making mocktails as they have cocktails, and it's wonderful. And there are companies that are specifically dedicated to making alcohol-free additions to your cocktails. Yes, ma'am. Hi. She gave me the little paw here. And actually one of my favorites, like one of my favorite summer drinks, if I'm not feeling like a drink and I want something that like kind of hits it, alcohol-free bitters. Might I introduce you to some alcohol-free bitters? Alcohol-free bitters. All of these are alcohol-free. They are extraordinarily aromatic. They are really, really good tasting. Not a drop of alcohol is in them. They're much more like tinctures, I would describe them. And they've got several different varieties. They have an orange variety. They have this aromatic variety, which is so good. It's very earthy, very herbal, very woody. It's got like a really good earthiness to it. And for your alcohol alternatives, I'm giving you my personal thoughts and recommendations on the ones I have tried. I really like Free Spirits. Free Spirits, their tequila, it's called the Spirit of Tequila, is actually one of my favorites. I think this tastes fantastic. This is something I really, really enjoy for a high quality taste, for a high quality mocktail. I just want you to know I'm thinking of you friends who don't drink. All right. We're going to talk about tiki cocktails, and we're going to make one of my favorite tiki cocktails, the classic, the one and the only Mai Tai. But before we talk about tiki cocktails, I would like to acknowledge something very important about tiki bars and tiki cocktails. And I say this as someone who really, really likes tiki cocktails. They're probably my favorite family of cocktails. We must acknowledge the fact that they came to the United States as a matter of cultural appropriation. But I just want to make sure that you know that there is history. There's a troubled history behind tiki cocktails. It is worth looking into. It is worth reading about. That does not mean you cannot enjoy them. Just understand where you're coming from. Heard? Heard. Alrighty. As long as we're heard. Let's talk about tiki cocktails. Tiki cocktails are delightful in the sense that they are very, very focused on tropical flavor. The thing about tiki cocktails, you have to remember, if you're going to any bar that serves a tiki cocktail or tiki-style cocktails, that is going to be juice-forward, fruit-forward, rum-based, and strong. We're gonna make my favorite tiki cocktail. The reason why I really like this tiki cocktail is I think it has a really fine balance. It is a balance of lime, it is a balance of rum, it is a balance of orange liqueur, so you get that citrus forward, you get that lime forward, you get that nice citrus bite to it, the rum with its nice, deep, sugary, molasses-style texture, and then you get one of my favorite slept-on ingredients, orgeat. It's not orgeat. I know people want to be French about it. It's orgeat. Orgeat is an almond syrup. A little bit of nuttiness goes a long way in a tiki drink, and it is fantastic. And I'm not quizzing you on the history of tiki drinks. Ma'am, cover your shame. No buttholes on my stream. I don't want to deal with that. If you're asking me personally, I got into cocktails because I was raised on spirits. My dad is a man from bourbon country. He came from Lexington. He introduced me to spirits from an early age. I tended to like spirits more than beer, but I did also go... Hi. Did you guys see that? That was really cute. I tended to like spirits more than beer, though I did become a prolific beer snob for quite a few years. Nowadays, I don't really do gluten, so I don't do a whole lot of beer, which is ironic because I work at a brewery, but whatever. I personally have just really liked the creativity that goes into cocktails. So now we're actually gonna make cocktails proper. We're gonna grab our bucket of ice. We're gonna put it next to the cat, and the cat's gonna be very confused. We're gonna open it and confuse the cat even more. Look at her being very confused. We're gonna take out our crushed ice. We're gonna need that later. I'm gonna put some ice here. You see this, there are two sides. Short side, long side. On the long side of the Boston Shaker is where you're gonna put your ice. It's all gonna be hand flavored. I don't feel bad about it. It's my house. There's an ice cube on the floor. I miss my dog. She used to pick up all my ice cubes when I dropped them. So we have our ice on our long side. In our short side, we're actually gonna put our alcohol. How do you make a Mai Tai? How do you make a Mai Tai properly? How do you make a Mai Tai without bastardizing the recipe and keeping it pure? First and foremost, your Mai Tai should never have cherry juice, pineapple juice, or orange juice in it. Why would it have those things? That's horrible. A classic Mai Tai contains the following. Rum, Panerai in this case. Orange liqueur. In my case, I'm using a locally made one that is absolutely fantastic. It is aged in bourbon barrels. Shameless plug for those who live locally. If you ever need an orange liqueur, Orange Tiger, Toledo Brewing Company. Or Toledo Spirits, not Toledo Brewing. Toledo Spirits. Lime juice. Mine's concentrate. It's not from fresh squeezed limes. It's not that serious. And finally, orgeat, aka almond flavored syrup. It's delightful. We love it. Gifford makes a really good one. Highly recommend. Your ratios are going to be as follows. 2 to 3/4 to 3/4 to 3/4. Which means to say you're going to use 2 ounces of rum, 3/4 of orange liqueur, 3/4 of lime juice, 3/4 of orgeat, and you're going to top it off with 2 dashes of the nice, herbaceous, delightful Angostura aromatic bitters. Gonna add a little punch. So the way I like to do things here, I'm gonna take my Panerai rum. I'm going to use my angled jigger to pour 2 ounces of Panerai rum, and I'm gonna put it in the short side where there is no ice. In the bowl. I'm going to take everything else and throw that shit in here. So we're doing 3/4. This is a nice thing because it's easy to remember. It's 2 3/4, 3/4, and a couple of dashes. So now I have all the liquid in here. I have all the ice in here. As Nicholas Hammond likes to say, liquid into ice. We're gonna slam it shut, create a seal. We're gonna shake it slowly first. That's gonna help build up the pressure. That's gonna help seal it shut so it doesn't explode on us. And then, as he likes to say, then you really just go for it. Now, there are people who will tell you there are different ways to shake cocktails. They are correct. Could I tell you what they are? No, I cannot. Could I tell you why it's important? No, I cannot. Ask a better bartender. What I like to do is look on the side here, and I start seeing a little frost build up. If I can start drawing designs with my nails, I'm like, that's cold enough. We're gonna pull out our what? We're gonna pull out our Hawthorne strainer. Now, the way you serve a Mai Tai correctly, remember this bag of crushed ice that we have? Is you actually serve it over crushed ice. So we're gonna stick our hand in here, give us a hand-flavored crushed ice. You normally, when you're working with crushed ice, want to fill the entire glass because the minute you put alcohol in it or any sort of liquid in it, it's going to immediately dissolve. So you want to make sure you have as much ice as possible. And we pour to strain. Looky here. Look at that. Beautiful. 10 out of 10. There's probably a little extra in there because... There's actually a lot of extra in there because all the ice displaced where the alcohol could be. So don't worry, I'm gonna have the whole drink. I just poured a little extra into the shot glass. This is a Mai Tai. Technically, it should normally be garnished with mint, nutmeg, and a lime wheel. I have nutmeg, I don't have fresh mint, and I don't have a lime wheel because I didn't go grocery shopping. However, a fine Mai Tai looks like this. It should be opaque. It should not be white. It should not be bright orange. It should not be layered in red and oranges. This is what a Mai Tai looks like. I'm going to stick to this point. Cheers. Fuck me, that's so good. I'm so mad at myself for just making... I still have this much of the Collins too, by the way. Like, your girl is gonna be slowly sipping for the rest of the evening. Speaking of modern rap flavors, let's talk about modern cocktails. Now, this is going to be kind of the part where Pixie just rants about some shit. This is going to be stuff I've noticed. This is going to be stuff I've experienced. Modern cocktails are fascinating currently because there has been a resurgence in both old technique and new technique. And I am seeing, based on what I am watching from cocktail influencers and cocktail blogs and reading all this good stuff, there's a lot of really interesting stuff coming out of the modern cocktail experience, but a couple of things that I've noticed that I think are rather amusing. One, cosmopolitans were super hot in the 90s thanks to Sex and the City. Nowadays, we have the espresso martini. I don't know where coffee became like the essential ingredient in cocktails, but I think it's because artisanal coffee also exploded in popularity. And you're getting these incredible coffee creations, well then that naturally carried over into cocktail land and or they borrow from each other. And we got the abomination known as the espresso martini. I am lying, I love a good espresso martini, but I don't drink coffee, so mine never has actual coffee in it. Other things I've noticed in the modern cocktail space that I think are really interesting that we're seeing now is we're seeing a lot more gastronomy and we're seeing a lot more of an infusion. We're seeing a lot of people infusing alcohols with different flavors, different herbs, different fruits, giving it a different character. And then we're seeing, I wrote it down, the thing that I talked about earlier, the thing that I did yesterday, we're seeing a lot more clarification and fat washing. Fat washing is something you could do with alcohol where you're using something that has a fat-based component like bacon, putting that in alcohol, letting the bacon solidify, letting the fat from the bacon solidify, rise up, off, solidify, scraping it off, and then distilling the alcohol out of it. That's a thing. You strain it, you strain the fats out of the alcohol after it's sat for a certain amount of time. Boom, your alcohol tastes different. That is like the simplest thing I could do for you. That is the simplest way I could break it down. But clarifying cocktails by milk washing them is a big thing. I'm sure you guys have heard of milk punch. I'm sure you've heard, if you are doing any sort of cocktail research, you've probably heard of clarified cocktails. They're also a new hot thing. It's basically where you run these cocktails through milk, you clarify them, they become clear. But these gastronomy techniques are starting to just go mad in the cocktail world. And it's really, really interesting to see because the cocktail world is full of purists. It's full of assholes, and it's full of people like me who just want to vibe and like enjoy making drinks. So you get a lot of conflicting information. We're gonna move right into chaos. We're already there. We're gonna start whatever the fuck cocktail this is, this nightmare, and yeah, it's a nightmare. Are you ready? We're actually gonna use my mixing glass. Since I'm not actually going to need it for anything, we're going to use it as a dumping glass. Now, normally, I would rinse out my Boston shaker. In this case, we're making another tropical kind of drink, so we're just going to use the mixing glass as an ice dump. And we're going to put fresh hand-flavored ice in there. So, when Celadon sent me this recipe, he told me that it included pineapple juice, malort, lemon juice, lemon zest, and sugar. And that I would be muddling lemon zest and sugar. Well, I guess I'm going to go get a lemon. And we're gonna muddle some shit. We're gonna throw some lemon zest in here. delightful, beautiful, savory. We have some sugar. I'm gonna take a little pinch. Boop. Just throw a little pinch of sugar in there, just because I hate myself. Now, I was told in the instructions to muddle this. There is now sugary lemon zest in my grater. For the ratios I've decided for this particular drink, we are going to take 1.5 ounces of the milk-washed Malort. That literally looks like piss. Oh, Moses. And we're gonna put it in the cocktail. And we're also gonna take a little sipsy-doozy for ourselves to know what it tastes like. Cheers. Whoa. You guys. All it did was make... It took away all... There was no flavor. It's just bitters. But it's not as harsh, and it is a lot silkier. It still tastes like Malort. Don't get me wrong, but it's much more grapefruit forward. That's... musty. That's wild. Wow. Delightful. We're gonna add some pineapple juice into that bad boy. We're gonna add 3 ounces of pineapple juice into this bad boy. Oh, that smells wonderful. That smells tropical. We might be coming back. Chat, we might be back. We might be fucking back. And we're just gonna kind of eyeball it to go lemon, lemon, lemon. Okay. And then we're gonna do a little bit of sugar just in case. Okay, it's fine. We're gonna pour it on ice, we're gonna shake it, and we're gonna double strain it, and we're gonna put it over crushed ice, I guess. Ugh, it's got pulp. I hate it. Hawthorne strainer, everybody. We remember Hawthorne strainer? And now we're gonna use our double strainer. We're gonna use our nice little mesh right here. We're gonna pour. Ugh, it's thick! Oh no! Oh, you know it's not. Okay, so can I demonstrate this? It's gotta like sit in the strainer for a minute because it's filtering through all of the gunk. And this is the Reddit mystery cocktail of milk-washed Malort. This is one of the first crimes against nature I think I've ever committed in my cocktail history. I have never made this. I have never tried this. This is the first time we are trying it. Cheers, Celadon. Thank you for your submission. Guys. Guys, it's not bad. It's just eating a slice of pineapple. Like, it's got the bitterness, like, it's got almost the texture of when you bite into a slice of pineapple and you get a little bit of bitterness, like around the rind area. It's not that bad. It is not something I would order a second time. I have definitely had worse. We have Pixie special stuff, which is supposed to be mixed 2-to-1 with Malort. So while we're still doing Malort things, I'm gonna take 1 ounce of Malort, and we're gonna take some mystery Pixie special stuff, whatever this could be. I was told it was herbaceous. It's got a pour spout in it, which I already love. Delightful, delightful, delightful. 2 parts, so 2 ounces to 1 part Malort. Boom. It smells like a chocolate forest floor, if that makes sense. Cheers, Honkus. Thank you so much. Let's see what you did to me. It's like if you took Dr. Pepper and Fernet, mixed it together and put Malort in it, and then added a sprinkle of baking chocolate. It's kind of like bark. It's not bad. I would 100% drink that as a digestive. All right, I made a promise. I'm going to make the drink that we dreamed about several months ago. Bear witness, for this Bloody Mary, it is an Asian-inspired Bloody Mary. In place of vodka, we will be using sake. Tomato juice we will be using in place of Worcestershire or Wash Your Sister sauce. We will be using hoisin. In place of black pepper, we will be using black pepper. In place of celery salt, we will be using garlic salt, which I need to go grab. In place of Tabasco, we will be using sriracha. And then we'll be using lemon juice. In place of horseradish, we'll be using a dollop of wasabi. I'm gonna make it in the tin. I'm going to then put ice in my Collins glass, pour in the sake, pour in this abomination that I have shaken, and we're gonna go from there. No promises. Yikes. 4 ounces of tomato juice. It's thick. A bar spoon, a small amount of hoisin, because hoisin is strong as shit, guys. Like, wow. Okay. Get in there. Oh god, it's sticky. Just a pinch of black pepper, celery salt, another pinch. Oh god, that was a lot of celery salt. That was not a pinch. It's gonna be salty. Sriracha. Oh my lord, this looks horrible. Oh, I cannot believe I am doing this on God's green earth in front of all you lovely people. Oh my god, it's thick. Okay. Okay, what's next? Lemon juice, thank god. Lemon juice. Yay, fresh squeezed. And the last thing that you normally put in a Bloody Mary is horseradish, but the Japanese equivalent to horseradish is wasabi. So we're gonna put like the tiniest dollop. I hate horseradish, so like, okay, like there's like a line. You see it? I did it. There's horseradish in there. An abomination. All right, ice. 2 ounces of sake, as opposed to vodka. We're gonna pour 1.5 ounces. Put it on ice. We're gonna pour another 1/2 ounce. Put it on ice. I hate my life. And now we're gonna shake up this abomination unto the Lord. Holly is completely unbothered. Created in a horrible brainstorming session sometime back in January between me and Mr. Sean the Gory Details Gory. This is the Asian-inspired Sriracha Bloody Mary. Cheers. It's so salty. As far as taste, it's actually not that bad. It's just too salty. I might have done it. This doesn't suck. That's disgusting. Can't stop drinking it. Valid clip. Damn, guys, I'm actually mad. That didn't suck. I'm genuinely mad that, like, the things that were supposed to be bad actually were okay. Can't say I'm a fan of the pineapple milk wash Malort. Don't know if I would milk wash Malort again, just because the curdling was disgusting, but it was also my first attempt at milk washing. So let's talk some final thoughts here. I've made some really cool stuff. I have talked about some really cool stuff. I've been surprised by some things. Again, I'm super surprised by Milk Wash Malort. It's just bitter now. It doesn't have like it doesn't have the thing that holds on to your taste buds. It's just bitter. I'm glad that you were here with me. I'm glad you got to enjoy it. I'm glad hopefully you learned something. I'm glad you maybe learned what you don't want to do with your cocktails. I hope you learned at least the basics. I'm literally just gonna sit here and be mad at this for the rest of the night.
Oh my gosh, I love Pixie's special stuff so much. Ooh,